And hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. It's great to see all you again. Today it is, as always, I got to think about today. It's Thursday, June 4th, 2020. Here to talk about U.S. immigration law question and answers live on TikTok, immigration lawyer John. And today's Thursday, so live on Instagram, JQK Law Firm. And the video of this will be on the YouTube page for JK Law Firm. If you haven't already, go to the YouTube page for JQK Law Firm, subscribe, click the bell so you can get all these updates, recordings of these live videos, as well as clips and other key information that's shorter, 1, 2, 3 minute stuff, sometimes a little bit longer, so you're up to date on what's going on with the immigration system, because every day and it seems like every hour it changes. So thank you everyone for joining and popping in the show. And people are trickling in, accumulating to throw out their questions. I'll talk a little bit, but thank you for coming. Just a general note I always have to give, the information here is educational only, not meant for individual legal advice, so please consult with an attorney in private. For something like that, that's the best way to do it. Results vary. This is an attorney advertisement, yada, 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 all the legal things I have to say. But thank you for joining. Today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, so we're getting near the end of the week, but immigration does not sleep. Constantly things are changing, and all sorts of issues keep repeating themselves with regards to the travel ban, with regards to people who are stuck in the United States. They came as a tourist, either on the visa waiver program or on a tourist visa, and they can't go back home. There's no flights, or they're afraid to go back home. They might get sick, all that kind of stuff. People are doing extension requests if they came on a tourist visa, or if they came on the visa waiver program, ESTA. There's a thing called satisfactory departure, which you can request potentially from USCIS, the Immigration Office, or potentially the Port Authority, CBP. It's all over the place. Each office does it differently. It's a really weird system, but consult with an attorney if you are here on the 90-day visa waiver program, and you could show that you need to stay longer because the flight's been canceled or something like that. Or if you're on a B1, B2 tourist visa, you want to stay longer, extensions are possible, Form I-539, but you just got to get everything together beforehand so you're prepared for that. So we got a quick question to start. Let's see, who is this? Maskensha asks, hello sir, I didn't receive my I-797 notice for Form I-751. It's been 5 weeks. How can I receive that? So what they're saying, I-797 notice is a general term for documents that the government sends you, USCIS sends you. It's not specific to help me to what is actually on there, but I assume you're talking about the filing receipt. So whenever you submit something to USCIS, you pay a fee, they send you a piece of paper that shows this acts as a receipt and also has a tracking number on it. Here they file Form I-751, removal of conditions. This is for people who were married, got their green card through marriage, but their marriage is rather new, so they have to apply for an extension and a full permanent green card. And the problem with I-751 is when you do submit it, many times it takes weeks and weeks and weeks to get it. The office that handles that sometimes takes a long time to send you the receipt. 5 weeks is not abnormal. We see that happening. The best thing to do is to check to see if they cash your check. If it's been 4 weeks and they haven't cashed the check that you submitted with your Form I-751, there may be an issue there. You may need to resubmit it or call USCIS to try to figure it out. You don't want that 90-day window to file the I-751 to be finished, because then it's going to be a bad situation. So if they haven't cashed a check and it's been 4 weeks, and you could trace either the check or the credit card that you used to pay for the filing fee for Form I-751. If they have not taken the money yet, there's some issues going on. Hopefully you had mailed it in with tracking, so you could contact the post office and see if they actually received it or not. But again, if it's been 4 weeks, nothing's happened, start preparing another I-751 package to potentially resubmit before the deadline on the expiration of your green card. Hopefully it's not the case, but 5 weeks isn't abnormal, but sometimes takes longer. But have that backup I-751 to file just in case, especially if the expiration date is coming up. Better safe than sorry in these kind of situations. Hopefully that helped, and keep us posted as to what happens. I'm interested in hearing how long it actually takes for them to send the receipt. Invincible will ask, any news after the opening of offices for green card based marriage cases? So this is a big situation. People are worried. They have green card cases pending. They have to do an interview, but they shut down these interviews. So what's the word? Well, every office is going to be different, so that's hard to give any information that's going to be helpful for you. For example, in the East Coast, some officers are opening up and doing interviews. They're going to be doing interviews, and they said your attorney does not have to come. They could call in. Today I was on a group phone call with the San Francisco office, and they said our priority is citizenship, the green card, those are going to happen later. We'll fill you in when that happens, but we don't know yet. So it's not, June 4th was the date that USCIS offices nationally are supposed to open up for in-person interactions. but each local office has its own procedures. Now, you might be in some areas where there's complete lockdown still, and so the local office has to abide by the laws of that city, that county, and that state, or whatever personal procedures the director of that field office wants to do. So if anyone asks what's going on at USCIS, well, it depends on your local office, and you know there's 50 local offices, so who knows, they've made them less, but there's so many different local offices, each one has different procedures, and they don't really share that information as broadly. So maybe contact the local attorney that can help you. Here in Los Angeles, they started doing citizenship oath ceremonies, for example. In San Francisco, they were saying for citizenship cases, when they do the interview, if approved, they're going to try to do the oath ceremony on the same day just to get it in and out and avoid people having to come twice to their offices to do stuff. So there's a lot of nuance and differences on how the USCIS field offices are handling the reopening. And some may be closed, some may be open. Some may just do naturalization, citizenship stuff, some may do everything. So that's the general news there. It's a lot of news, which means there's no news because it just varies so drastically. On Instagram, Sammy asks, is there any chance to change your date of birth on a green card if you come to USA with a special immigrant visa you provided the correct document USCIS? So Sammy, it's very case specific. We got to see why you didn't provide the correct date of birth at first. You don't want to make it look like you misrepresented fraud. So you got to consult with an attorney in private to see what happened with your case. That's not something I could answer here. Bueno Immigration, yeah, it's great. The call was interesting today. USCIS is very interesting in San Francisco to see how they're going. CBP, not so much. They're not. LAX CBP is much more open and to talk about stuff. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to have naturalization ceremonies happen on the same day just to get in and out. It's going to make clients really happy. Invisible follows up. Oh no, it's the same question. So let me move it forward. Thanks, Invisible, for sharing the current live. If you haven't already, you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, go ahead and subscribe and follow to get updated information like this. And go to the YouTube page, JQK Law Firm. A lot of information there that could help you out. Hashimi asks, when is international flights opening? Well, I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm not in charge of international flights, and so that's not a question that I could answer here. Check with the local airline website that you're dealing with for whichever country. You're welcome, Eskina. Igni asks, I've been waiting for my Juarez appointment. How long it takes? I was told my case closed since July. Well, the interviews for embassies are also closed. So I was just talking about USCIS, but the embassies are shut down because of fear of the coronavirus. And so when you ask when is it going to happen, well, it depends on when they restart the embassy system for the interview and whenever they get to your turn in line. Ciudad Juarez, the U.S. Embassy in Mexico that handles immigrant visas, is one of the most backlogged embassies there are. So as it is in normal circumstances, 6 months to 12 months wait after the MVC accepts the documents is normal. Now it's going to be longer because of that. You just have to be patient. That's about it. There's no timeline on any of this. It's whenever they get around to talk with you or set your appointment up. Ignias, okay, so I answered that. Rokindas, we can still travel if our passport is going to expire this August. Well, I mean, there's a lot to say if someone could travel or not. I need to know a lot more information about you. First of all, which passport is it? A U.S. or foreign passport? Are you a person that was an asylee or something like that? That's a green card. There's a lot of things going on that I need to know more about your background before I can answer that, which country you're going to, what their rules are on passport expirations. So Rohita, there's 20, 30 different, there's probably 10 or 15 things I need to know before I can answer that question. If you're really worried about it, consult with an immigration attorney in private to help answer you, but your question is just too broad to be able to answer here. Hashimi asks, can I apply for citizenship 6 months before the 5 years complete? No, there's no rules that say you can file for 6 months. You could potentially file 3 months before the 5 years are complete, not 6 months. But again, it depends on your specific case and your background. So you have to see if you satisfy the requirements for filing for citizenship. But you can file up to 90 days before the 5-year mark is done. Again, it's 90 days, not 3 months. There's a calculator on USCIS.gov where you can input the when you expect the 5-year or your green card is approved, all this kind of stuff to see when that 90-day mark is appropriate. Just go to search naturalization 90-day calculator USCIS, and the first result should be it. And see when that is. But again, it's 3 months, not 6 months. You be careful. You don't want to file early because they may just take the money and deny your case. Hopefully they'll just reject it without taking the money. Imran asks, what about asylum cases? Well, asylum offices are opening now, but again, it depends. Like USCIS includes field offices and asylum offices. It depends on the local jurisdiction rules. And also what's important is, even if these offices are open, they're not just doing the same old scheduling of interviews they used to do. they're going to be working at a quarter of the capacity that they used to. So if they used to see 20 cases, or let's say 100 cases a day, they're going to see 25 cases nowadays. And for example, San Francisco was saying every interview you could do, so if they're doing a citizenship interview in one cubicle, one of those small offices that they do interviews in, once that's done, the officer is going to go to another room and do another interview in a separate room. And so that way the rooms are not having back-to-back people coming in them. That means they can handle less people because they don't have that much space to keep just filling up these rooms. So, asylum cases are starting to open. It depends on local jurisdiction and depends on when they get to you. So the answer to all this stuff is just be patient. Abdul asks, can one remarry her ex-wife in America? You could always remarry. It depends. I mean, if there was a valid divorce and you want to get remarried, that's fine too. There's a lot of individual issues I need to analyze to see what's going on in that situation. Person could always get remarried, but it's kind of a peculiar situation. That's why for sure I would need to analyze everything that's going on to see what happened, what the marriage was the divorce properly undertaken, the documentation, how is that foreign spouse in the United States, if they're foreign, are they legally here? There's just a lot of things we have to analyze. The question is too broad. Please consult with an attorney in private for guidance on something like that. Madan asks, when is San Francisco case reopening? We don't know. Check the website for the San Francisco court for all these questions about reopening. That's a fifth or sixth one I've answered, so I'm just going to cut them out now. Please ask some questions that have some context, legal issues that you might have, but those kind of questions we can't do. Shalom asks, green card through investing. Could you please explain total amount, what business? Okay, well, there's two types of investment-based green cards primarily in the United States. I'm sorry, not green cards, they're visas. There's one that's E2, which is a temporary, you could just work here and run your business. The green card is if you invest a large sum of money, I can't remember the exact dollar amounts, but let's say $1 million or more. If you have the money's not a big deal. The major issue is you have to create 10 full-time jobs in the United States. And so that's a big problem. How are you going to create 10 full-time jobs? You got to make sure your business has that and creates that. And then secondly, a big problem with some countries is how to prove that the source of the funds that are coming for investment were lawfully earned. And they're really sticklers on that. They want to really analyze each penny that comes, how it came, both where the money was coming from and both how it entered the United States following the source. Now, if you've been working in Germany for many years and you're paying taxes and you just wire transfer the fees, the investment from Germany to US, that's easy. But you might have a country, where you had a piece of property 20 years ago, you sold it, and then you want to send the money here, but your country has sanctions. It's hard to get the money out, for example. Or from China, where it's hard to get the money out. That's a big problem because first of all, they'll say, okay, how did you get the house in the first place? And you say, well, I got it 20 years ago. I'm like, well, how did you make the money 20 years ago to buy that house? Was it based on drugs or was it lawful? And you might not have documents from 20 years ago. And then secondly, how are you going to send the money out? So that's just one aspect, source of funds. Another is the job 10 jobs you create. What is the business you create? So it's a really complex thing. The essence of it is you take a large sum of money, invest it, create a business, create full-time jobs, or if a company's going out of business, save full-time jobs. That's a 2-second version of it. But really, if you are interested in something like this, you should consult with an attorney in private and have a long consultation to see exactly what you're doing, what your plans are, where your money was earned, what your personal background is. And so those could be issues right there. And so you could do that. That's what I'd recommend. Now, I want to ask, can you pool money from investors? I think the money has to be yours. So, bueno, if someone's going to do an EB-5, the investor program, the money that they invest in the U.S. company to create the U.S. company or purchase it or whatever has to be from the applicant. So if they pull money from investors, that's not really their money. If the investors gift the money, then that's fine. But if they loan it, there's sort of loan issues that come involved if you're loaning the money. That's much more complex. I'm not going to talk about here. Yeah, just give me a holler or I'll connect you with a specialist. EB-5 that can help you with that. Usually it's just a situation as someone has a large sum of money from selling a business or something, and that's the way we do it. Harmbach asks, stuck with 221G from March 1st. Any advice? No, I mean, it is what it is. March 1st since March 1st, the U.S. embassies have been shut down, so there's nothing really much happening, so it's very normal to do that. just be patient. And if you have an immigration attorney, talk with your immigration attorney. And these are kind of situations why someone should really just have a lawyer, even they think that's really easy to do. This stuff pops up. Shalom follows up about the EB-5 saying, can the money be from the U.S. or should it be from outside the U.S.? No, actually, it could be from anywhere. For example, we've had cases where someone's rich uncle in the U.S. gifted the money to a foreign national. The uncle does have to source their funds still and prove how they earned it, how they gave it to them, and document that it's a gift. There's gift taxes and you paid, all this kind of stuff. It's complicated, but the location of the money doesn't matter. It's just that it's a lawfully earned money and it's in the possession, ownership, and control of the applicant, the person requesting the visa, who then gives the money to the business or invests it in the business. That's the short of it. GOP, any effect on unemployment? I don't know. Your question is too vague. Honey Dylan, good to hear from you. So USCIS says totally shut down. Are they working office like office or over paperwork? So USCIS has been working for paperwork. They never stopped working on paperwork. The shutdown was just doing in-person interactions with USCIS, and they're slowly reopening that as of today. Not every office, some more, some less. For example, I've been giving the example of San Francisco today. Officers were in the office, a portion of them, not all of them, and doing paperwork and following up on stuff. But they were not, doing in-person interviews today. That's still being worked on to be scheduled. But the USCIS is working. I'm getting approvals. I'm getting work permits. I'm getting advanced parole travel documents. I'm getting appointment notices for oath ceremonies, all this kind of stuff. It just depends on the field office and what kind of case you have, what kind of needs it requires. Hazas, is humanitarian parole hard to get approved? So humanitarian parole is special permission that's granted for someone to be able to enter the United States who doesn't have a visa for some sort of humanitarian reason. Is it hard or easy? There's no hard or easy on this. You have a case, you submit it. If they want to approve it, they approve it. Generally, it is. I mean, if I'm going to say hard, it is hard. They're pessimistic, they're skeptical, but I've seen cases be approved, even cases that weren't that strong. So, if you have a humanitarian parole need, you can always file it. I had a client recently that asked if they could get it because they're married, they're waiting for their spouse's green card to happen, but they want their spouse to come, and they said, could we do humanitarian parole? I'm like, well, what's the need that we could show it? Like, I had a colleague who just got a humanitarian parole approved, and it was a U.S. citizen, daughter was overseas, and they were waiting for the daughter with the green card, but she was very sick and she had to go to the hospital, and they couldn't take care of her in their home country because of they didn't have all the medical needs there. And they went and asked CBP to have some more protection for parole, and they let him in. I was really surprised, but they did. They brought the documentation of the health situation that the father could pay for and all this kind of stuff, and it was approved. So it's really a case-by-case basis. If you have a need for it, give it a shot. I always go with it with an eye toward it not being approved, being pessimistic. But you could always give it a shot. For my client who asked for it, I wasn't optimistic. I said, if you want to pay for it, throw the money, yeah, go ahead. Most likely it's not going to be approved because there's so many people in my client's situation. But if you have something that's special, something you could document that's different from other cases that could really get their attention, then yeah, give it a shot. And if you don't give it a shot too, who knows? You never know. You shoot, you may score. There's nothing to lose. If you hire an attorney, there may be legal fees, but you can always give it a shot. Just do a good job, explain things. Don't say anything that's misrepresentation. Don't lie or anything like that. And that's the main thing, and hopefully it works out. One problem that happens if you're doing humanitarian parole with the new public charge rules, if you come at it saying, this person is, very sick overseas, we need to bring him here, that's on the record. So later on, if you're going to get a visa, they ask about their health and they're sick, they might not give him the visa or the green card because they'll say there'll be a public charge. That's a new thing because public charge just came into place on February 24th. That could happen. Everything can and be used against you under this current administration, under President Trump. So you got to be very cautious of what you do tell them in these kind of situations. So it's a case-by-case basis. You really need to talk with the attorney private. I know you've been contacting me, asking me about humanitarian parole before, just in TikTok, but please just, if you have a case, talk with a lawyer in private to see what your case is and kind of strategize down the line how telling this information to the government would affect a future case. So it's a case-by-case basis. You really need to strategize and need to document things. Talking with a lawyer in private is the way to go on these kind of matters. Shalom follows up by EB5. Can I borrow the money for a family or friend outside the country? You can borrow money for investment-based green cards. The documentation has to be very proper. The source of funds still have to be done even if it's borrowed, unless it's from a bank or something. But there's a lot more going into it. I'm not going to continue discussing the EB-5 program. It's complex enough where I don't want to get into here and give confusing information for a lot of people. This is a highly touchy subject. It's very sensitive in ways analyzed. But you can borrow loans. The loans can't be guaranteed by the U.S. investment, so the company you're investing in cannot be the property that the loan is guaranteed upon. You could have personal loans, personal guarantees as well, but the loan documentation has to be proper, and the source of funds still have to happen, especially if it's a family member or a friend loaning the money. It's got to be an actual loan, and you got to properly source their funds as well, so it creates a lot of work for them. But consult with an attorney in private. If you're really serious about AB5, it's a big money thing, you could afford a lawyer, so go for it. This is really for people I have a little bit tougher time about that. You're welcome, Shalom. Tarson follows up, can you get a green card through your kids, the citizen, out in the business? Well, if your children are 21 or over, they can start the green card process, but then it goes to your background. If you've been in the United States without permission or you enter without permission, that could be problematic. So generally, the kids, 21-year-old citizen children can start the green card process, but with the rest, whether it's going to get approved or not, that's a case-by-case analysis. So please just schedule a consultation if you want with my office. Email me at info@jqqlaw.com and we can get into more detail about that. There is a consultation fee. Email me, I'll let you know more about that. But it's a case-by-case analysis of whether you could get a green card based on your background. But generally speaking, a child that's 21 years old can apply for their parent to start the process, the application for green card. But whether it's finished or not, well, it depends. Imran asks, in what type of case USCIS issue green card? They're issuing green cards in all types of cases. I'm even hearing people have marriage cases getting green cards issued with that interview, employment-based cases. I don't deal with asylum too much, so I don't know if that's been happening, but I'm hearing it happen in employment for sure, some marriage cases. But it doesn't really matter because it's a case-by-case basis. If you have a case pending, just be patient to see what happens in your case. Even if they do some cases, you never know it's going to be you, so what's the point of worrying about it? Got to be stoic about it. Sean Vaz, can the money be a gift? I already answered that. Harid, so hey, it's good to see Harid. Is there any fixed date every month releasing visa bulletin, or it's random? Typically, the visa bulletin, this is the State Department's timeline of where the visas are released at the beginning of every month, but it's not consistent. I think it was in May where they took like a week or two longer than usual to do it. They have a whole system there to analyze how the visa bulletin chart's going to be. Sometimes, especially right nowadays, because the whole system is kind of messed up because of coronavirus, they're not getting the numbers in time, the calculations are off, this and that. That's going longer, but there's no like exact date. It's just usually at the beginning of every month they issue the visa bulletin for the future month. Shalom asks, I'm on H-1B. Can I make money through YouTube? I don't work for Google. No, if you make money off YouTube, the company that is going to pay you, send you a check, is YouTube or YouTube the corporation, which is an American company, and so an American company is paying you for work you're doing while you're in the United States. Some officers will consider that unauthorized employment, and that could lead to a visa violation and problems in the future. I've seen it happen before. I have a client who's one of the biggest YouTubers in the world. He came to the United States at the airport. They asked what you do, and he's like, I'm a YouTuber. And they're like, well, have you ever recorded a YouTube video that you uploaded while you were in America? He's like, yeah, last time I was here, I was talking to my phone, I recorded something. They're like, okay, I'm going to put you on this plane and send you back home because you're denied entry, you work without authorization. You have to go back and get a work visa, an O1 visa, to be able to come back and work on YouTube. So if you want to be safe, don't do it. I mean, I would not recommend doing YouTube videos for money because that would probably be considered unauthorized employment. User Rid says, my fiance visa is in Kabul and it's admitted processing. How can I find out if they're open? We'll go to their website. They should tell you if they're open or not, but they are closed right now. Everywhere is closed because of COVID-19. When they do open up, just be prepared. Cases from Afghanistan take longer. They go into administrative processing, and a lot of times people have to sue the government, sue the embassy to force them to hurry up and make a final decision on that case so people are not stuck in limbo. That does happen. But very important, all the embassies are shut down. But visit their website or email them on their website. They should have an email address for immigrant visa cases, for example, or non-immigrant visa cases like this. Then they can respond to you or have an auto response that gives you that answer. We have a question on Instagram. Site asks, hello, Mr. Khosravi. How long does the naturalization process take? It varies drastically. I don't have an answer for that. Sometimes faster, sometimes slower. It just depends on the local office. In your particular case, some cases are faster, some are slower. So there's no exact answer that I could give. You could try going to USCIS.gov and look up the charts and numbers they have, but it's not a reliable number. I don't stand by it. I can say it's probably wrong what they have up there, but each case is different. So don't worry about how long it is. Just do it if your case is appropriate and be patient. That's the best thing to do. Okay, Kristen asks, I applied for my green card 3 weeks ago. What do you think they would call for my fingerprints? Well, the biometrics appointments where the fingerprints shut down. So we don't know. They're supposed to start reopening today. But again, as I've talked about several times in the last 20 minutes, each location, each city is opening up itself differently. So we'll have to see what happens. You just should be patient. Again, with all these timeline questions, just be patient. Just take a deep breath, relax. It'll happen when it happens. If it's been 2 or 3 years longer than it should be, or you've been waiting, look into it. Preferably you have a lawyer that you could talk to in private that'll calm you down about this stuff. But the questions about timelines, everyone has them, so I understand it's a big worry. But there's no answer to these kind of things, So it's like guessing. And what's the point of guessing things? It doesn't help you anything. Just got to be patient. Now, I don't mean to put on you, Christian. I've asked this question in the last 30 minutes like 50 times. So I'm doing good. And just the questions about timelines gets really repetitive for me. Hiya, John. Thank you for asking. Sorry Boys asks, I was supposed to go for an interview in April, but it was canceled. I sense a timeline question coming from this one. How soon can I expect? Yep, we got the timeline. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. Thank you so much for information. Always the best. My question is, God bless you. Thank you, Honeydale. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching and tuning in. We're nearing the end, so if you have some questions, let me know. Hari asks, that's an interesting question. Thanks, Hari. Hari asks, is it correct that after every October, there is a good chance of forward jump in the priority date? So let me back up and analyze what that question means. So the Visa Bulletin is a timeline system that they've set up where you have a preference-based green card. So this is family-based green cards or employment-based green cards, or even the diversity visa lottery, which doesn't come to play what we're talking about here. But the employment-based or family-based, other than immediate relatives, there's a timeline called the Visa Bulletin. There's charts that say, cases filed, for example, in January 2020, we're giving green cards now. Or cases filed in February 2015, we're giving green cards now. And people can follow that up. It's updated every month. The way the government works is, they said every year, every fiscal year, this term fiscal year is very important, they're only going to give out a certain number of green cards. So let's say they'll only give out a million green cards every year. And the fiscal year in the United States, and I already said this is getting too complicated, the fiscal year ends on October 1st, it restarts on October 1st. So normally our years goes from January to December, the government goes from September to October to September, like that in a full year. So once we hit October 1st, that's a new year for the government, and that's when the number of green cards being counted gets restarted. So there usually is, in many cases, there's a jump and a rejiggering of how the visa timelines occur in October 1st. And this is very important because people, when they ask me how long things take, I don't know what's going to happen October 1st. We might have a huge jump forward. We could also have huge jumps backwards too. So October 1st is somewhat of a reset. Things do change a lot there. Whether it's to be a jump forward or not on the priority date, maybe not. But there are changes that happen. But that just goes to show how it's impossible for anybody to guess the future because these things change quite dramatically. Because at that time, they analyzed how many green cards we gave last year, how many this year, and just reset things. And it could change drastically. For example, right now, there's a lot of people from China who request the EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program. But because the embassy's shut down in China for many months now, they are not issuing green cards there. So the green cards that would have gone to Chinese people, if they don't get used up for that category EB-5, they start getting distributed to other visa categories. So all of a sudden, all these people who like Indians in EB-2 category will start getting a little more visas from those EB-5s that didn't get used. So this is like a calculation that we don't have control over. It's an algorithm that they know the numbers, they don't share with us, and if they did, who's going to go and count these things? It makes no point. There's no profit for anyone else other than the government to do it, other than maybe a watchdog to make sure they're doing it right. But there's huge changes that happen every month in the system, especially when the fiscal year changes at the end of September. So that's an interesting question to ask. Yeah, that's true. This is just, I guess usually clients don't ask about this stuff. Some lawyers know, but it was a fun question to answer. The fiscal year ends at the end of September. There's some reset that happens, so timelines do jump around a lot. So if you are worried about how long things are taking, look forward to October. Hopefully you'll get some good news for a little bit of a jump forward. Thank you, Howard, for that interesting question. Chalam asks, EB2 Indian green card, what do you think? Any insider info? No insider info, just be patient. I just answered that right now what might happen, but it just got to be patient. User asks, Immigration Lawyer John, I need help by fiance visa case. Well, please email my office and schedule a consultation. There is a fee, but email me, CC your fiance, describe what the issue is, and I'll reply and let you know whether you need a 30-minute consultation, 1-hour consultation, more complex consultation, or if I can't handle the case, just email me, describe the issue, and we'll take it from there. info@jqqlaw.com is the email. Karan asks, is MVC open yet? Yes, the National Visa Center was never closed for it to be reopened. So MVC is operating. It's not operating full staff, but it's open. It was never closed. All right, so we're near the end. Shalom, you're welcome. If there's one last question, I'll ask this. Yeah, Hazli, I answered your question already. August, I'm not going to answer. I just go watch the video of this, Hazli. It's going to be on YouTube in a couple days, or maybe on Monday or Tuesday. So do that. Leilani, you say, please answer my question, but you didn't answer a question. Thank you for sharing on YouTube. You got it. Tarsim, thank you. Appreciate that. Come on, one question. It's not about timelines. 2 years. Okay, if it's been 2 years, go consult with a lawyer and see what you can do. Everyone's about timelines. Come on, one question. We hit the 30 mark. I'm gonna leave. Let's take an interview. Blah blah blah. Is blocking mean? What other options to have family business? I don't know. Okay, we got a lot of questions here, but I think half of them are about timelines. The answer is I don't know. So thank you everyone for joining today. We're at the 5:30 mark. Today's Thursday. We got one more day, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Tomorrow, Friday, join us here on Immigration Lawyer John. John is J-O-H-N on TikTok. Join me tomorrow. I'm going to be on Facebook, JQK Law Firm. Today was Instagram. Thank you everyone for joining in. And the video of these are going to be on YouTube. Clips are going to be on Instagram. It's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on LinkedIn. Just look up JQK Law Firm, JK Law Firm, and and find me there. If you wanted to schedule a consultation, just email me at info@jqqlaw.com. We schedule a video consultation, break down what's going on in your case. If it's a case my office handles, the type of case I handle, and we can take it from there, hopefully get you past the goal and get you in the United States with your loved ones. I appreciate everyone who joined today. Thank you all, and I hope you're safe. Join us again tomorrow. God bless and be safe. Bye-bye.